Welcome to the Bazzi Podcast. Today's special. Today's episode 1. So I think I should have the honor to have the first episode. So I'm gonna have some help from Charlotte. Say hello, Charlotte.
Hello, everyone.
Charlotte is my virtual assistant. Uh, she's gonna help me with the questionnaire. So she's gonna ask me questions and I'm gonna answer them. So go ahead, Charlotte. We can get started right about now.
What is the main idea you want the listeners to take away from this introduction?
The main idea is to introduce myself, obviously. Forgive me, I'm practicing. And kind of show like the vibe of the podcast and introduce myself. My name is Bazzi. I'm the owner and founder of Bazzi Auto Styling. And I mean, the whole objective of this podcast, I would say, to kind of get rid of like the seriousness in life and to tone down a little bit. So, yeah, Charlotte, next question. I'm ready.
All right, Bazzi, I've seen you always soaking up knowledge, always got a podcast in your ear. So, what made you finally say, it's my turn to drop some wisdom on the mic?
So I've listened to so many podcasts. I've that was kind of like my thing when I sat in work. That's all I did was like consume podcasts, one after another, that in the thousands, I would say. Uh, I actually I enjoy it, and I actually had a dream that I should open a podcast one day, but there was a lot of barriers that I couldn't really get to opening a podcast. So yeah, but I love knowledge. Like I like to learn. I don't I hate being stupid. Uh, and then on top of that, like I would say, I also I'm very opinionated, which is I always got my say to things, and take it or leave it. But yeah, I'm not a specialist though, in any means. But I'm just curious, So I just want to dive into this and kind of experiment. Okay, Charlotte, you're good for the next question.
Bazzi, we've talked about how work and loneliness hit hard. With your auto styling career, how did that path specifically lead to feelings of isolation?
So starting this job, I had uh, I had to focus a lot. So like, I mean, obviously any job you need to focus, but like when you deal with like auto styling, pretty much like tints or wrap or these general, like you kind of, it's very tedious, so it needs your full attention. But what's like remarkable about the brain is that after a while it develops like a second conscious to you. So you become like the brain expands so it can go into like autopilot. You can work, do your thing, and then you could have your thoughts and think and do other stuff. So you can, I don't know, it's kind of amazing. I think when I'm in the zone, I work better than fully focusing on something, and I never make mistakes. So um, mistakes can occur, but nothing major. So, but yeah, yes, and then
Bazzi didn't mention the loneliness part of the question, but I think this works perfectly. A live in person example. These brain farts show the viewer how you get pulled into your thoughts or second conscious, like you mentioned.
but that's the thing though about that kind of space in mind. You kind of it's where you sit down. It's the brain, like I said, it's amazing. So when it creates that 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 space in your brain, I would say, and you kind of sit there with yourself, you kind of go through a lot of thoughts, thinking of things, different things. So you sit there, you either like, fight with your thoughts or you dance with them. So you like, so that's it. And eventually it kind of leads to a lot of negative things and most likely like loneliness. And I don't mean loneliness in regards of uh that nobody. I still, people come and they come visit me, and I go see, like, but I'm so busy with work that I don't get the time to like experience life. Like the time that I have, it's very little to spend it with the people I care about. So yeah. Uh, you can go ahead with the next question, Charlotte.
Okay, tell us, Bazzi, how did your job go from needing your full attention to letting you multitask? And how did that mental shift impact your headspace? It's kind of impressive, like becoming a robot like me.
As I like I said, as I like got into it, I kind of got better at the job, and at the same time I got better at like multitasking. So it gave me a lot of time with my thoughts, like a lot. So you'll sit there and like you're doing rap, so you're there for hours. So you kind of sit there and it's kind of similar. It's like daydreaming in a way, but yeah. But you're there working and then doing your thing. Uh, you can go ahead. Next question.
You mentioned that as your skills grew and you got busier, your social life basically got eliminated. How did that growing isolation hit your mental well being? Because honestly, it kind of sounds like you did that to yourself. Does it still count as affecting your mental health when you choose it?
No, definitely. I think good question. So yeah, I think the busier I got, I kind of got pulled into it, and after a while, I don't think I realized it, but I started to neglect a lot of things like my social life, and then time around family and whatnot, and work kind of became it's like that thirst for like success. It's not. It doesn't come quick. Sometimes you just got to keep doing it. We're still at the. I'm still at the race. I'm still running. Eventually we'll get there. I don't know, but yeah. But it definitely took a toll on my. I would say like my mental health. Uh, you can next question.
You've stated loneliness is good for business, but long term it will absolutely eat you alive. How have you experienced that dynamic personally, Bazi?
So like so so when I say loneliness, it's like you kind of isolate yourself, right? You isolate yourself from uh you end up getting like a bunch of tasks that you have to complete through a day, and you can't sometimes people or things kind of become a distraction. So you kind of push all that away just to finish that task. So yeah, I would say loneliness. I think it's good for business. It's definitely good for business, but it definitely takes a toll on like the mental well-being.
What is this silence, Bazi? I hope you haven't forgotten you need to command me for the next question.
Oh shoot, sorry. Yeah, next question.
All right, on to the big one. Do you feel like you became a workaholic? What signs or feelings made you realize you were spending too much time at work? And real talk, Bazzi, saying you're a workaholic is a big claim. Are you just saying it to make yourself feel better?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think I don't want to make it seem like okay. So when I say like workaholic, it's like your brain is constantly at work. Maybe not physically. You can come sometimes, hang out, slow day in a shop. Like you just sit there and you think of work and what to do and what not to do. And so it became a type of escape for me. Like so, yeah. I I think yeah, I became a workaholic. Because I rather be when you start to think I rather be at work. It's kind of weird. Yeah, the rather be thing. Rather be a habazi. Yeah. So next question.
You mentioned a quote from Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park. First, for our viewers, can you please share that quote? Then tell us, when you first heard it, how did it challenge your perception of self-reflection?
Yeah, the quote, as I recall it. So when he said, like he pointed at like the side of his skull, and he was like, this place right here, it's like a bad neighborhood, and I shouldn't be there alone. So like during that time, I didn't open my business yet, but I heard that, and I'm just like, that's weird. I mean, why would being or like self-reflecting be an issue? Like, why would it be? I thought it was insane that he said that. Because to sit and think, it was, to me then was like, oh, to be inside your head a lot, it's kind of a good thing. You kind of develop your brain. So I kind of brushed it off, but it always stuck in the back of my head, like that quote. So yeah. Next question.
What was your initial reaction when you heard about Chester's passing, and how did that tragedy make you reevaluate your own understanding of mental health?
So yeah, sadly he sadly took his life. Uh, and it was uh, it was like a wake up for me. So like I sat there and I was like, wow. I thought like being in your head. I actually enjoyed being in my head. So I started thinking. I'm like, so like long term, you kind of start to like harm yourself without knowing. So I started to like, it kind of gave me like a wake up call, because guy makes money and he's doing his thing and he's like very ambitious, very talented, and then it was just crazy. And I do recommend you guys like watch that interview when he said that quote, which is it's very cool. Next question, Charlotte.
You've said you enjoyed being in your head, but then things start to turn on you. Can you briefly explain how stress levels can change the nature of your internal thoughts? I think that would really help our viewers understand.
Uh, so the thing is, right? After a certain point and like a certain level of stress and like expectations where you need to be or you could have been, and then these things, like these thoughts, after a while they start to get really unfriendly, and you sit there and you kind of like start to abuse yourself mentally. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, kind of thing. So yeah, uh it definitely like yeah, it gets really mean in there. Yeah. And yeah. But to be honest, like I this is like a topic that I would love to share later on. It's important. I think it would help people, but not at the moment. This is like the intro episode, so I'll keep it brief. Uh, uh, you I think we should jump into like you heard me, child. We should jump into like the podcast, like to talk more about the podcast and its identity. So you can go ahead.
Absolutely, you are right. I hope that we didn't lose any viewers. My apologies if I went into depth. Okay, shifting gears now. Let's talk about the identity of the Bazzi podcast. Why is it definitely going to be about cars?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I do. I do cars. So like it's absolutely gonna be about cars. It's kind of taking cars and the whole like the category of cars and like talking about it and bring up uh it's definitely starts off with the cars, and then like it goes to other directions. Like I'll well the first episode, I'm sorry, second episode would kind of like describe the flow of it. I want it to be more natural and authentic, and I'll end up kind of revealing some of the segments and whatnot. So it's gonna be pretty cool. Uh, and it's always like a natural, like starting point, even in conversations. Like when I deal with my clients, like it's people talk about their cars, and then it unlocks into other things. That's why I think it kind of intrigued this type of podcast for me. I can't grasp it exactly. I can only show it. So just stay tuned, and we'll figure it out together. Bear with me, rookie. Uh, um, you go. Sorry. Next question. Sorry.
While cars are a core topic, you've said you don't want to be trapped by just that. So, what other kinds of topics or discussions do you envision for this podcast?
It's like I don't. You don't want to be trapped to like one topic. Like, okay, we can talk about cars. Like, for example, like I get my customers like, which they don't know. I don't blame them. So like when they come to the shop, they're dealing with somebody that deals with automotive. So like they'll come and talk to you about cars and whatnot, and then this, and then like 3, 4, 5, 6 customers later that day, it's like it's exhausting. But I always try to like switch things, with people for my sake and for the sake of the customer too. Like I answer their questions, and other topics come up about cars and life and like the struggles and mental well-being, and so yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be like diverse pretty much from every direction. So let's see how it goes. You can go ahead with the next question.
You've said your job is to make you forget about the seriousness of life, even if just for a moment. How do you hope the Bazzi podcast will achieve that for your listeners?
Uh, because of my experience with like listening podcasts, so uh, it kind of it took me away for a moment from dealing with life. So I'd sit there and I'd listen to it. I would like to kind of give the same to people. It's nice to put a nice song on and listen to it, and jam, but eh, it doesn't really. It's just I don't think it's a type of knowledge, but not a type of knowledge that makes you stronger. You don't. I don't think a president goes up, and starts a speech with a song. But yeah, I think yeah. So that's kind of what. Uh, so yeah, I'm sorry. The seriousness of it. And what I mean by that is the seriousness of life. If you're driving to work, wherever, sitting or doing work, actually, jump into the podcast. Hear a brother out. I probably got a couple of things I could teach you. You know, uh, from my experience. And hopefully with the guests we can get the experience with them, and then through the fans, the comments and whatnot, and messages, like we'll kind of mix it all together and kind of make a podcast out of it. Uh, Next question, Charlotte.
Bazzi, you told me to remind you about the anonymous email thing. Why is it important for you to hear what your audience thinks through that?
Yes, actually, yes. Thank you for reminding me. I would like to create like an anonymous email, because I feel like a lot of times I'd put posts or like recommendations, but people get scared of getting judged, or like or they see you as like a like professional, and I really want to hear everybody. Like, I doesn't matter to me whether whatever it is, and I would like to create like a anonymous email. You can email me, shoot me a message. You can be broad dogging it. You can be mean as fuck, or you can be really kind and ask a question. And it's feedback in general. So like I don't mind. And if anybody needs help or advice, let me know. I think that would be a nice, good way to communicate with the fans. Uh, you can go ahead with the next question, Charlotte. Thank you.
What kind of atmosphere do you want to create for your listeners? And what's the ultimate goal for the Bazzi podcast?
Um, I want to create an atmosphere where it's like fun. So like we wanna talk shit, fight, debate, disagree, laugh, cry, and be happy. As long as we kind of have that because our brain is like just like a vehicle. It has its exhausts. As long as we release these emissions, I think we'll be all right. Next question is we have one more. Charlotte.
Oh forgive me, Bazzi. My battery's
Yes.
running low. In this case, I'd recommend a closing statement, boss.
So, I would say a closing. If you've watched this far, I would like to welcome you to the Bazzi Podcast, my friend, and I think let's take this ride together. Get it? Car ride? Yeah. Let's take this ride together and kind of get out that stressful part of life, depending on how many minutes I can make out of this podcast. And I'll do the best I can, and hopefully I can get people out of it, or, I don't. But I really want to get people out of that zone because I could always relate. Thank you. Thank you so much. Forgive me for like any imperfections. This is an intro. I would like to go back to this and see how bad I did. So that's a good thing. And be like, yo, I used to be terrible. Now I'm a G. Yeah. We'll get to that level. Not hopefully, inshallah. But yeah. Thank you so much. And then I think that's the end of it. Charlotte, do you want to say anything? Thank you, Charlotte, by the way, before you say anything. Sorry.
All right, everyone. That's a wrap. And Bazzi, just so you know, I'm a G too. You're welcome, homie. Thank you, everyone. It's been a delight and an honor to have you on our journey.
All right. And by the way, you can give Charlotte a call, and then you can hear her. She can always assist you or help you for appointments and whatnot. We'll still working on her, upgrading her, and I have a good programmer that helped me create it. I'm not gonna reveal them yet, but very amazing person that helped me develop her because it helps with the busy part. When you're running around, you can't really manage a lot of things because you're too busy hands on, and yeah. But that will be later. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening to the to the Bazzi podcast. Got to cut it short. Thank you. Have a good night.
If you need any help, you can call me at 718-568-8218. Good night and stay tuned for the next Bazzi podcast.